Hello, this is Carrie with Cookbook Divas, and today we're going to chat about my recent library haul and book haul. I borrow lots of books from the library and I buy lots of books. I kind of have a problem. I'm going to chat with you about some of the new releases that are coming out or just came out. We are going to get our Amazon live stream up and going, and we are at Cookbook Divas shops, and I actually need to put a little banner up about that. Yeah, let me do that. Let me add a new banner. Follow us at Cookbook at on YouTube. On YouTube as youtube.com Cookbook Divas Shop. That's where we put stuff that's not cookbooks that we want to talk about. I'm going to scroll this across the bottom, throw it on the screen. Okay, it is our newest channel. We only have 48 subscribers, but it's where we put all of our Amazon Live product videos over on YouTube. Food, toys, kids' books, regular books, Christmas, puzzles, games, etc. Anything that's not too dark. That stuff we put over at Dark Side of the Library, and I'll show you that address over here too. It is our other Amazon Live channel where we talk about dark books, Halloween, tarot decks, and spooky toys. But let's stay chatting about Cookbook Divas shops. All right, I'm starting off today. I wanted to mention that my ring light, which is by Newer, is 20% off today. It's not part of the Amazon Big Spring sale that sadly ends tonight, but it is on sale, 20% off. I'm speaking with you on a Logitech Brio 4K webcam that's also on sale, 25% off today. And I'm very happy with this camera. My microphone is a Logitech for Creators Blue Yeti, and it's 23% off today, dropping it down to $99.99. Behind me is a fake kitchen backdrop. I'm not actually live streaming in my kitchen, but look how real it looks. Until I poke it, you can see that it's vinyl. It is on sale today too, 17% off, $9.99 for a kitchen backdrop. Love it. I'm drinking my hot decaf tea because it's after 1:30 out of a book coffee mug from Lofty Pop. It's on sale today, 6% off. Big whoop. I needed that. So let's chat about our first book, The Little Wartime Library. Let me go over to Amazon and get our chat started, though. Amazon Live. Just making sure I'm there. I'm there. Welcome to our library haul and book haul chat. All right. If you are watching on Amazon Live, click on a heart if you're enjoying chatting about books, and don't forget to follow. Over on YouTube, hit subscribe to follow Cookbook Divas shops and get notified when we go live to talk about books. So right now, I'm in a World War II era fiction, historical fiction book phase. Normally, I read that kind of stuff in fall and winter, but our winter has still been lasting and lasting and lasting. It is spring here. I'm seeing cherry trees out the window. I'm wearing pink in their honor. But I'm still in the mood for wartime books. And I don't do like Nazi spy hunting novels or anything that's too violent, but historical fiction, especially with wartime in books, yes! So I have two books that are specifically about wartime libraries, and we're going to chat about them. I have not read this one yet. I just grabbed it. It is down below me in the carousel if you're watching on desktop here on Amazon Live, or if you're watching on a phone over to the side, you can click on it to check it out. It's on sale today, 29% off for the paper. Oh, the Kindle is 29% off. Yes, the paperback, like the one I'm holding, is on sale, 26% off too. It's by Kate Thompson. It's set in London in 1944. Our main heroine is Clara Button, and she's no ordinary librarian. While war ravages the city above her, Clara has risked everything else to turn the Bethnal Green tube station into the country's only underground library. And we have another book we'll be chatting about too, The Underground Library by Jennifer Ryan. So they're both kind of the same concept. This one came out February 21, 2023. The Underground Library came out 2 weeks ago, and I'm so eager to read them both and compare. So in this book, Clara has a best friend who's very glamorous, Ruby Monroe, and they're making sure that the library is the beating heart of life underground for all the people that have to be down there just in case of bombings. So the war is dragging on, and the women are determined to remain strong in the face of adversity. But it might come at the price of keeping those they love the most alive. Whoa! So let's see what it says on the back. It says, down here in the Bethnal Green tube station, a secret community thrives with thousands of bunk beds, a nursery, a cafe, and a theater, offering shelter, solace, and escape from the bombs that fall upon their city. Okay, this is a huge book, lots of pages. Here's the author. How many pages does this have? Oh, and part of the back is a sample. Oh, the reading group guide. Thank you. This would be a great book club book. And you're actually learning about the history, the true story of Bethnal Green Library, and the fight to save it. That's great. So over 420 pages. So wow, I've got to find some time to read this. And I have an airplane ride coming up next week, so maybe I'll take it with me, especially because it's paperback. And I do have a Kindle, but I just like paper books. I like holding them. So this is the Little Wartime Library, and we'll revisit this again later on in the live stream when we talk about the other Underground Library book. Now, I quickly wanted to show you something since it's next in the carousel. Have you tried these yet? This is new limited edition cookies from Pepperidge Farm. It's Milano's London Fog cookies. They are flavored with a little bit of vanilla, not too much, luckily, because I don't really care for vanilla flavors. I mean, I don't hate it. It's Milano's London Fog, and it has a taste of Earl Grey tea. And there's still some chocolatey flavor in there too, creamy milk chocolate. I don't normally personally care for Milano because of the texture of the cookie is kind of rough, but these are great for dipping into your tea, and they hold together just in time for it to get into your mouth. So I wanted to let you know about these because they are limited edition. They're not going to be around forever. And I didn't buy mine on Amazon. I had to drive to 3 stores to find it. So then I get home and I'm like, oh, it's on Amazon. I should have just bought it here. Duh. So the next book we're going to chat about is down at the end of the carousel. I'm trying to pull these off in order so they don't like go flying all over the place. Oh, and I accidentally jumped out of the Amazon Live app, which happens to all of us live streamers all the time. Okay. This is Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Lord. It's by Celeste Connolly, and I love the cover. I wish my house looked like that, but then I'd have to have a bunch of servants. I don't know. I guess if I could afford the house, I could afford the servants. It's a mystery book, which I don't usually read, and I'm going to go ahead and click on it so I don't have to read my copy and be squinting. Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Lord. It's on sale today, too. Another reason I have it in my carousel. It is set in London in 1815. Today, the Kindle version is on sale, 48% off. The hardcover version is also on sale, 39% off. This is described as Bridgerton meets Agatha Christie. Oh, okay. It's set in the Regency era. Lady Petra Forsyth is the daughter of the Earl of Holbrook. Oh, that must be nice. She's made a shocking proclamation. She lost her beloved fiancé in an accident 3 years earlier, and she's decided to announce in front of the London gossips that she will never marry. She's a woman of independent means and rather independent ways. I like her already. Petra sees no reason to cede her wealth and freedom to any man now that the love of her life has perished. Instead, she plans to enjoy the best of society without any expectations. So, of course, a hot dude comes along. Excuse me. Ballroom gossip suggests that a longtime friend of Lady Petra's has died of a fit because she had melancholia while in the care of a questionable physician, and Petra decides to use her fame and fortune, etc., to dig deeper and find out what really happened to her friend. Just as she has reason to believe that her friend is actually alive, there's a shocking murder. I don't know who gets murdered. I'm assuming it's not Lady Petra because she's kind of the hero of the book, but you never know. Maybe the last pages are blank. No, okay, it wasn't her. Oh, here's the author, by the way. So she's determined to uncover the truth, but her headstrong actions and desire for independence are used against her, as it would be back in 1815. And she's putting her own freedom and possibly her life in jeopardy. And this seems like a really fun and intriguing read. I'm very excited to check it out. It's by Celeste Connolly, and it's book 1 of 2 of a series called Lady Petra inquires. The second one is All Fair in Love and Treachery. When does that come out? Let me take a look. Is it already out? Oh, it comes out in November 2024, so we'll have to wait for that. So spoiler alert, Lady Petra lives long enough to be in a second book. I'm sure you figured that out. Okay. Let me put this on the floor. I'm going to reach it. Last weekend, when it was really sunny, I sat outside on a sunny chaise lounge and started reading the sequel to The Firm. What? Like 20 years after the first one came out, John Grisham gave us a sequel to The Firm. And it is, as you can imagine, it's Mitch and his wife. And I believe they have a little kiddo, and his wife has totally thrown herself into raising them. They're living in Manhattan. And a mentor of his asks him to go back to Memphis. He doesn't want to go there and represent a client that's on death row. He does not want to do that, but he goes and does it. And he finds himself and I'm only 4 chapters in, he finds himself at the center of a sinister plot with worldwide implications. What? So I don't know how it ends. I'm only 4 chapters in. I'm thoroughly enjoying it in the sort of, it's a John Grisham book. It's not going to be a bad time. It's going to be well written. It's going to have some surprises for me because I'm not the best at figuring out plots. The Kindle version is $14.99. It's not on sale today, I don't think. Nope. This is The Exchange by John Grisham, and it's nice to find out what happened to Mitch McDear and his wife Abby after The Firm. And I really enjoyed reading The Firm, and I loved the movie, even though an actor I don't particularly care for was in it, but he was cool. And I love the actress Jeannie Triplehorn that played Abby, his wife. Love it. So the hardcover is $17.19. It is on sale because it's supposed to be more than that. Yeah, it's 43% off for the hardcover. And I would kind of like to read this today because I want to know what happens. Oh, well, I'm going to set this aside because we have other books that we're going to chat about. Now I'm going to jump over because I thought I saw a comment on YouTube. I did not. And I'm hoping that my Amazon Live friends will stop in and say hello. I see somebody clicking on a book. Good to know it. The next book I wanted to chat about is The Midnight News by Jo Baker. I love her books. They take a lot of thought. Like I can't read it as like a fluffy read because she gives me so much to think about. This is The Midnight News. I have to admit I bought it months ago and have not even started it yet. But I have a crazy busy life. You would not even believe if you knew what was going. Like you wouldn't believe how crazy and busy it is. So let's check this out. I'd love to start reading this. The other book that she wrote was Longbourn, and I have that in the carousel. Longbourn was the story of the Bennett family from Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, but from the servant's perspective. It was so good. I've reread it 3 times. The paperback is on sale today, 31% off. The hardcover is also on sale. Just wanted to mention Longbourn, which I did read 3 times. This one I have not read yet. So same author, Jo Baker, and I can't wait to see what else they come out with. Longbourn was published in 2014. And then The Midnight News, let's see, she also wrote The Undertow, which came out, I'm checking really quick. The Undertow came out in 2012, so before Longbourn. So, The Midnight News, back to that one, on sale 46% off today for the hardcover version. It is set in World War II, which is my current historical fiction phase that I'm going through. It's 1940. 20-year-old Charlotte Richmond is looking out her attic window watching planes fly over London. And I just went to lunch last week with my friend's mother, who is currently 94 years old. And she grew up outside of London during the Blitz, and she remembers watching planes fly over, although she wasn't personally in danger because nobody was going to bomb the countryside. But it really happened, and she could watch planes fly over, and you would go get on the telephone and call ahead to your relatives to say they're coming, get in the shelter. Oh, it gave me chills to hear it, and I'm glad she could remember it and share the story with me. So back to the book. She's grieving her beloved brother who never returned from France, trying to keep herself out of trouble by holding down a typist job at the Ministry of Information. She's sharing gin and confidences with her best friend Elena and dodging her overbearing father, as we all do. So on her way to work, she often sees a boy that feeds some birds. It's a source of unexpected joy amid the rubble of the Blitz. But every day brings new scenes of devastation, and after yet another heartbreaking loss, Charlotte has an uncanny sense of foreboding. Someone is stalking the darkness, targeting her friends, and now he's following her. Why haven't I read this yet? Oh my god! This is a big book. I don't know if it's a book club read. Would there be enough to talk about? It's 325 pages ish. The writing is going to be superb. Oh my gosh. I buy too many books and don't finish reading enough because I'm always reading 25 books at the same time. But I do finish a book every day, and I finished one last night. This is The Midnight News by Joe Baker. It's another World War II historical fiction, and it's 46% off today. The Bookbinder is another book that I bought quite a while ago and haven't started yet. I think I'm intimidated because it's big, and it's by the author of the Dictionary of Lost Words, which is not a fluffy read. It's very good, though. Let me close some of my extra windows over here. Make sure I'm paying attention to Amazon. I might have to refresh my own live stream here. This is the Bookbinder. It's on sale, 50% off today for the Kindle version. The hardcover version also looks like it's on sale. That one is 43% off. It's by Pip Williams, the author of the Dictionary of Lost Words. This one is set in 1914. And as the war is drawing the young men of Britain away to fight, women must keep the nation running. Two of those women are Peggy and Maud, twin sisters, who live in Oxford and work in the bookbindery at the University Press. A book about books! I love it. So Peggy is the more ambitious of the two, and she's very smart, and she's been told most of her life that her job is to bind the books, not read them. How dare they tell her not to read? But as she's folding and gathering the pages, her mind is wandering to the opposite side of Walton Street, where the female students, I'm sure there were very few of them, of Oxford's Somerville College have a whole library at their fingertips. No fair. Her sister Maud, meanwhile, wants nothing more than what she has. She's content, and she wants to spend her days folding the pages of books in the company of the other bindery girls. Okay, Peggy feels like she needs to watch over her sister, as you do. And then the book gets interesting when refugees arrive from the war-torn cities of Belgium, as they did, sending ripples through the Oxford community and the sisters' lives. Peggy starts seeing the possibility of another future where she can educate herself and use her intellect, not just her hands. But as war and illness, 1914, starts, the pandemic of the flu that killed so many people, she falls in love with a Belgian soldier, and that's not a spoiler, it's part of the book. And the responsibility that comes with it, does that mean she gets pregnant? Threatened to hold her back. So that's the Bookbinder, and because it's so deep and kind of depressing, I haven't started it, but I really, really want to. But there's so many books in my house right now, and there's also so many good TV shows. Speaking of which, I'm going to ask if you guys have watched Palm Royale on Apple TV+. It is set in 1969 in Palm Beach, Florida. Kristen Wiig, who's normally a comedy actress, like from Saturday Night Live, has the lead role, and she's doing a fantastic job. Allison Janney is there from The West Wing. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because it's loosely based on an old book, which I have here in my carousel somewhere. I'm looking for it. It's in here. It's in here. There it is. Mr. and Mrs. American Pie. I have not read this. I just heard that the Palm Beach show is loosely based on it. So let's check it out. It's by Juliet McDaniel. The year is 1969. Dick Nixon was just sworn in as the 37th president. Neil Armstrong just landed on the moon. And Palm Springs socialite Maxine Simmons just found out that her husband is leaving her for his 22-year-old secretary. That might be a spoiler for the show. I've only seen 4 episodes. After a public meltdown at Thanksgiving, Maxine finds herself not only divorced, but exiled to Scottsdale, Arizona. Well, in the show, it's Palm Beach. However, these desert boondocks will not be her end. Only her Elba, the former beauty queen, sets her eyes on a new crown, that of the Mrs. American Pie pageant. Okay, so it is different than the show, but I thought it was cute, and I'm definitely going to buy it and check it out. It's on sale today, 15% off for the Kindle version. It also comes in paperback, and that version is 20% off today. That looks like a fun read, Mr. and Mrs. American Pie. But I haven't checked it out yet. Now, I quickly wanted to show you some beautiful editions if we have any Jane Austen fans here. I have to throw them into the carousel as soon as I find them. Oh, let's talk about this guy. Let me show you this adorable. This is off topic of books, but it's a stuffed plush coffee mug named Murray. It's a Bum Bums. It's by the company that makes Squishmallows. He's just super cute. So I just wanted to show him to you. Just so adorable. Very squishable, 7.5 inches. It's for kids age 3 and up or adult collectors that like to have books keeping them company on their bookshelf. And he's 13% off today. All right. I'm looking for my Pride and Prejudice books, which I'm going to pick up right now to show you this gorgeous editions, but I need to find them in the carousel. Where are you? Where are you? You're in here somewhere. They are so pretty. They look great on my shelf. Here they are. It's Puffin in Bloom editions. So Pride and Prejudice has Pemberley or Netherfield on the front. I can't tell which. It's gilt and really pretty. There's a sampler on the back. And then no illustrations, just pretty end papers. It's mostly supposed to look pretty on your bookshelf or on your coffee table. The print is a little bit smaller than I would like to fit this entire long Jane Austen book in there, but I technically could read. Yeah, I could probably do it without my reading glasses. So this is they also have Emma, and Emma is 10% off today. This is the Pride and Prejudice Puffin and Bloom edition, which is 10% off. It just looks so pretty on a bookshelf, doesn't it? And the other one is Sense and Sensibility, which is also 10% off today. Absolutely gorgeous. So Anna Bond, is that the name, from Rifle Paper Company, designed the covers and the end papers likely. Again, no illustrations. And the font is a little, oh, my camera's wiping out the book. The font's a little bit small, but it is stunning. What a nice gift edition. I just wanted to show them to you because they're so pretty. I'll just set them up there so we can look at the spines for a little bit. It's too bad they didn't charge a little more for the book and do the end papers kind of floral, but whatever, that's fine. The next book I wanted to chat about is a fun and kind of silly one, perhaps, A Lady's Guide to Selling Out. And I've started reading this one. And it's not that I never finish a book, it's just that I read books like one's in the bathroom, one's on my Kindle by the bed, like 10 of them. One's in the living room, one's in the kitchen, one's in my office, one's in my purse. You know, it happens. A Lady's Guide to Selling Out is a novel by Sally Franson that came out. Ooh, it's in hardcover, and that version came out in 2018. It has a cute cover too. The paperback, I don't think is on sale, but the Kindle version is. So, Casey Pendergast is 28, and she's not where she thought she should be. She's killing it at a high-paying advertising job, but when she thinks about the idealistic English major she used to be, she can't help the nagging feeling that perhaps her best friend Susan is right. Casey's a sellout who traded her dreams for a high-rise condo, an expense account, and designer handbags. Well, I don't blame her because all those things are nice. High-rise condos mean you live by fun restaurants. An expense account means you're spending other people's money on your designer handbags. So her boss assigns her to a lucrative new campaign to lure acclaimed authors into becoming content creators for corporations, i.e. selling out. To be fair, they would be selling out. She's determined to give it her best shot, and she begins her trek across America only to find herself stunned by how easily these writers agree to compromise their work and integrity in exchange for extra cash. She begins to question just how much she's willing to sacrifice to chase material success. It's a witty and razor-sharp coming-of-age story, and I don't think it's a romance, which is kind of nice because that would be a distraction from the entire point of the book. So I wanted to chat with you about A Lady's Guide to Selling Out. It is not really book club material, but I think it's going to be fun. Next, I forgot I owned this book, and I opened a box of books in my garage and found it and was like, what? Have I not read this yet? And it doesn't, Whew, doesn't smell musty. Thank goodness. It is the Vintage Teacup Club. And I bought it in a bookstore just because the cover had teacups and said the word book on it. I was like, hello. Miss Addison is back. Yay. Are you a reader? I hope you are a reader. This is the Vintage Teacup Club, and it came out in 2013, and I've owned it since then, and I've never read it because it was in a box in the garage. I don't know how that happened. So 3 women's lives are about to change because of a few delicate pieces of china. When Jenny Davis comes across a beautiful vintage tea set, and I just gave away a beautiful vintage tea set yesterday because I was opening a box in the garage. I'm not a hoarder, but I'm a shopper, and I do have a big garage that I use for storage. Come meet Carrie. Thank you, Miss Addison. I appreciate that. So I was like, I haven't used this teacup set in years. I packed it in a box, never once thought about it. I gave it away. This woman, I used a Buy Nothing Facebook group. A woman came and got it and already sent me a picture of her taking a sip out of the tea. I hope she washed the teacup first. Meanwhile, I'm using this ugly mug with books on it to drink my tea. It's not ugly. I actually like it. There's a little bird sitting on top of the books. It makes me think of Edgar Allan Poe. So Jenny Davis finds this beautiful vintage tea set, and she thinks it's fate. She's a young bride on a budget, and she has her heart set on a vintage tea party theme for her wedding. And the gold-rimmed china before her is perfect for it. But there's one problem. 2 other women have also fallen in love with it too. So they come up with a solution. They'll share the tea set. The establishes sisterhood, sharing the ups and downs of their lives, from broken hearts and weddings to family drama like we all have, and career dreams. I'm not sure what year this is set. It must be contemporary because it's the English countryside. A figure from Jenny's past threatens to ruin her big wedding day, and Allison's teenage daughter pushes her to the limit. I have been there with my teenagers. Woo! And Maggie's romantic life is thrown into turmoil. So the members of the Vintage Teacup Club band together. So it kind of reminds me of the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants because they're all sharing this. But it seemed like a really sweet read and charming. And because all my other reads today are like depressing books about World War II hiding in the underground, I thought this would be a nice, cheerful read. And I might start that next Sunday. You're eating goldfish. Oh, are they flavored? Is it the new goldfish crackers, which I have on my desk and I could almost reach them? Can't really eat on a live stream. That wouldn't be very nice. So the Vintage Teacup Club is on sale today, 14% off. I want to chat about our book club at Cookbook Divas. We have been reading Good Taste, a novel, which I'm going to put up in the carousel. We haven't been discussing it because I'm a terrible book club hostess, but we're reading Good Taste, a novel in search of good food. I finished it last month. It's set in England in 1932, and Stella Douglas is asked to go around the country and get all these old, nostalgic, sentimental recipes and really prove that British cooking is better than we think it is. She starts traveling around and realizes she's getting a lot of oatcake recipes that are kind of boring. And she meets 2 men. So Good Taste is a novel, and it is about British cookery, and I had to look up a lot of terms, but it's also a romance. And you're going to be rooting for her to finally come to her senses and pick one of the men. But, no spoilers. The Kindle version is $9.99. The hardcover is on sale. The Kindle version is not. I really enjoyed this even. Oh, there is something on sale. 50% off. I'm not sure which one. Must be the Kindle. Anyway, I was pretty mad at her for part of the book. I'm like, dude, but I enjoyed reading about the food and recipes. And she was taking some shortcuts in her writing. And she shouldn't have, and I should remember that for myself too. The other book that we're reading for the Cookbook Divas book club, which is an online book club hosted on Facebook and Instagram, is Mrs. Quinn's Rise to Fame. It is our book for March. It's by Olivia Ford. It's really darling. It's a coming of old age tale, a love story, and also an ode to good food. So her husband Bernard's health is declining, and her friends' lives become focused around her grandchildren, and Jenny never had any. She decides she wants something for herself, and she secretly applies to be a contestant on a TV show called Britain Bakes. It kind of reminds me of, where did I put the kitchen front? I thought I grabbed it. Oh no, I'm missing a book that's very important. Wow, I went out of this way to grab this book, The Kitchen Front. Anyway, similar plot. Did I just not pick it up? No, I didn't. I left it in a pile over there. Can't reach it. Okay. Anyway, there's cameras, timed baking challenges. Jenny loves her independence, but the stress of the competition starts to unearth memories that she's buried decades ago. Chocolate tea cakes are reminding her of a furtive errand involving a wedding ring. Sugared donuts call up a stranger's kind act, and a simple cottage loaf brings back the moment her life changed forever. What is going on? It's a fun and interesting read. It's Mrs. Quinn's Rise to Fame, and it is, I think, not on sale. Too bad. The other book that we are going to read in April for our Cookbook Divas book club, which you can find on Instagram and on Facebook, is the Gawa Food Detectives, book 1 of a 2-book series by Hisashi Kashiwai. Jesse Kirkwood has translated it from Japanese for us. This came out very recently. The publisher is G.P. Putnam's Sons. Down a quiet back street in Kyoto exists a very special restaurant. It's run by Koichi Kamogawa and her father, Nagar. The Kamogawa diner serves up deliciously extravagant meals, but that's not the main reason customers stop by. The father-daughter duo are food detectives. Through ingenious investigations, they're able to recreate dishes from a person's treasured memories, dishes that might well hold the keys to their forgotten past and future happiness. It's a restaurant of lost recipes, and it provides a link to vanished moments. It sounds so sweet. It was a bestseller in Japan. And the second one comes out in the fall, and that is The Restaurant. Let me find that. The Restaurant of Lost Recipes, book 2. And that will be coming out, I'm going to say October 2024. That looks adorable as well. So that might be a good book club read. I'm not really sure. So I wanted to mention those before we move on to our next book, The Last Word. This is the darkest book of today. It is a thriller, and I'm going to try and pick it up without knocking everything down. I did it! I'm dying to start reading this because it sounds so scary. The Kindle version is on sale. Mass market paperback, is on sale 25% off, dropping it down to $7.48. I don't see the hardback here, actually. Okay. After posting a negative review online of a horror novel, a woman who's staying at an isolated beach house begins to wonder if the author is a little touchy or very, very dangerous. So it's kind of like Misery, but in reverse, where the author's the one that gets pissed off at someone. So here's what this is about. Emma Carpenter lives in isolation with her golden retriever named Laika after the first dog in space. She's house-sitting an old beachfront home on the rainy Washington coast. I live in Washington, and I don't have a beachfront home, but I'm often alone in a house in a tiny, tiny lakefront community, so now I'm scared. Her only human contact is her enigmatic old neighbor, Deke, and via text, the house's owner, Jules. So one day she reads a poorly written, gruesome horror novel by the author H.G. Cain, and she posts a 1-star review that drags her into an online argument with none other than the author himself. Soon after, disturbing incidents start to occur, but only at night. To Emma, this can't just be a coincidence. It was strange enough for this author to bicker with her online about a lousy review. Could he be stalking her too? I'm dying to read this. It's The Last Word by Taylor Adams. And Miss Addison is having the extra cheddar flavor blasted. I have not tried those. I did try the Golden Graham's goldfish recently. Those are definitely delicious, but kind of sweet. Whoa! Have a couple more books to chat with, but I really want to get, excuse me a second. Oh, okay. You might hear some stuff being knocked over because I have it's falling. I have a giant bookcase full of books that want to fall down right now. Okay, do not fall down. Okay, they listen to me. So I wanted to talk about The Kitchen Front at the same time that I talked about the Ground Library, because it's the same author, Jennifer Ryan. And I loved, loved, loved The Kitchen Front so much. Here it is. That I've probably hosted a book club on it like 5 times now, and I've read it like 6 times. Jennifer Ryan also wrote the best-selling Chilbury Ladies Choir, which I have not read, but I own it somewhere in this house that's crazy full of books. Woo! So The Kitchen Front has 3 women or 4 women? I've read this a bunch. You'd think I could remember. 4 women that are trying to be on a radio show called The Kitchen Front. It's World War II. They live outside of London. Food is kind of scarce and they're having to deal with rationing. So they're supposed to cook up these amazing meals to audition for the show, but they barely have any ingredients, except for 2 of the women are a set of sisters that don't get along. One of them's rich, one of them isn't. It is so beautiful. And every chapter has a recipe that one of the women supposedly made. So it's not a cookbook, it's a historical fiction book, but it's sprinkled with recipes. This one I would never cook because it's a sheep's head roll. So this was The Kitchen Front, and I loved it. So when this book, The Underground Library, came out, I was so excited to read it. Let me find it in my carousel here. I have not started it yet. I'm hoping to, but today's a crazy work day, and it's Taco Tuesday, so I might be going out for tacos. Where is it in my... Here it is, The Underground Library. This reminds me of the very first book that we talked about at the beginning of this live stream. It must be a trend right now because the Little Wartime Library, which was published first, is on the same topic. You have to go down to the tube station because it's the Blitz and bombs are dropping. So the librarians take the books downstairs to help people. So this one says, when the Blitz imperils the heart of a London neighborhood, 3 young women must use their fighting spirit to save the community's beloved library in this novel based on true events. It must be the same Bethnal Green Library. So in this book, we have Juliet Lansdowne, who's the new deputy librarian. Oh, it is Bethnal Green Library. She wants to breathe life back into the library, but can she show the men in charge that a woman is up to the task of running the library? That would be hard back then. Katie Upwood is thrilled to be working at the library, but she's only there till she heads off to university in the fall. But after the death of her beau on the front line, she finds herself harboring a life-changing secret with no one to turn to for help. I'm guessing she's pregnant? I don't know. No spoilers. Then we have Sophie Bauman, who's a young Jewish refugee who came to London on a domestic service visa, and she's working as a maid for a man who treats her abominably. She escapes to the library every chance she can, as you would, finding friendship in the literary community. When a slew of bombs destroys the library, Juliet relocates the stacks, what's left of them, to the local underground station, where the city's residents are sheltering nightly, determined to lend out stories that will keep spirits up. But tragedy after tragedy threatens to unmoor the women and sever the ties of their community. Will they be able to overcome their own troubles to save the library? This is definitely a book club book. It seems way more dramatic than the Little Wartime Library. I'm not sure. This is the Underground Library. It is on sale. The Kindle version is 32% off. Let's see if the hardcover version has a deal today. Yeah, 14% off, saves you $4. So that is the Underground Library. I'm very excited to start reading this because I have a friend that's going to be my book buddy and read it with me. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more books to chat about. One more Jennifer Ryan book. I guess I'm a fan of hers, and I guess I have to get her Chilbury Ladies Choir book too. But let me find this in the carousel. Did I put it in here? Oops, at the beginning. She also wrote The Wedding Dress Sewing Circle, which I did read last year, thoroughly enjoyed. It's a little slow moving, but I love the characters, and it's not a page turner because I wasn't like, what happens next? Oh my gosh. I'm not sure I put this in the carousel. Let me go check. Let's add it. Add wedding dress sewing circle. I'm just typing on my phone. Excuse me. You would think I would remember to put my books in. I'm not like new to live streaming. I guess I got so excited to be talking about books that I freaked out. Okay, it's in the carousel now. Phew. Return to live stream. Now it's going to be at the very end. So, Miss Addison, what part of the country do you live in? I am in Seattle, and right now it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and the kids at the school next to my house are going to be getting out and making lots of happy noises. You might hear it in the background. Whoa! This book is majorly on sale. What's going on? Why is it $5.99? It must be the Kindle version. This is such a good book. Okay, Kindle version is 67% off. It's $6 to read this giant book. Love it. The hardcover is $14.75 today. It is 47% off. After renowned fashion designer Cressida Westcott loses both her home and her design shop in the London Blitz, she has nowhere to go but the family manor house that she fled decades ago. She's praying that her niece and nephew will be more hospitable than her own brother had been. She arrives at their house with nothing but the clothes she stands in, at a loss how to rebuild her business while staying in a quaint country village. Well, her niece, Violet, is thrilled that her famous designer aunt is coming to stay. The village has been interminably dull, and all the men are off fighting. So just as Cressida arrives, so does Violet's conscription letter. So Cressida ends up helping ladies sew wedding dresses out of parachute silk from downed parachutes. We also get to know the local vicar's daughter, Grace Carlyle, who's trying to repair her mother's wedding gown, her only chance of a white wedding. So this was a charming read. I really loved the characters and enjoyed it thoroughly, and it might be what kicked off my World War II historical fiction mood for reading that I'm in right now. It is $5.99 today on Kindle. That's a great deal. Okay, now I wanted to chat about the library books that I picked up and why I picked them up, and I have not read any of them. So this isn't really a book review because I don't know what's going on. I kind of surprised myself because I'm really not a mystery reader, but I picked this one up anyway. I better have put it in this carousel or I'm going to be really mad at myself. Oh, I did. It is Creme Fraiche. Oh, Crime Fresh, a Capuchin culinary mystery by Alexander Campion. His name sounds familiar to me, but I think I'm thinking of the director, Jane Campion. Okay. So before Capuchin and her husband, a distinguished food critic, Alexandre de Hugelet, even arrive at her uncle's 16th century chateau, wouldn't that be nice? A fatal hunting accident has upset their idyllic destination. What's meant to be a peaceful bon voyage to the countryside, rustic picnics, dinners in the open, etc. A sip or two of Calvados, which is apple brandy. That sounds really good right now. Their trip quickly sours as more accidents start befalling the guests. And the local police lack the investigative finesse to draw any conclusions, let alone suspects. So Capuchin has to puzzle out the crimes herself, as you do. And when the bodies lead to a celebrated cattle ranch, which I didn't know they had out in the countryside, but whatever, the stakes rise beyond small town grudges to the struggle surrounding France's most beloved gastronomic traditions. This looked cute. I grabbed it from the library. The hardcover is $7.98. This came out in 2011. It seemed like a fun read at the time. I also picked up The Lost Letter, which is this next one. It's by Gillian Cantor. Don't know anything about it, but I was intrigued because it's a historical novel set in World War II. You won't be surprised. The mysterious love letter that connects generations of Jewish families. So this is set in Austria instead of London. I'm branching out a little. 1938. Christoph is a young apprentice to a master Jewish stamp engraver. When his teacher disappears during the Kristallnacht, Christoph is forced to engrave stamps for the Germans and simultaneously works alongside Elena, his beautiful teacher's fiery daughter, and with the Austrian resistance to send underground messages and forge papers for people. As he falls for Elena amidst the brutal chaos of war, Christoph must find a way to save her and himself. Jump forward, as a lot of these historical fiction books do, to Los Angeles, 1989. Katie Nelson is going through a divorce, and while she's cleaning out her house and life in the aftermath, she comes across the stamp collection of her father who recently went into a nursing home. There's an appraiser, Benjamin, who discovers an unusual World War II era Austrian stamp. placed on an old love letter as he goes through her dad's collection. Katie and Benjamin are sent on a journey together that will uncover a story of passion and tragedy that spans decades and continents. So this is The Lost Letter, and I thought it would be good to read a book about World War II that's not just set in London. So this one's set in Austria, and it looked interesting to me. I don't know. We have just a couple more books, 2 more, that I grabbed from the library. I have a feeling the children's train is going to be a little depressing. Let's see if I can find it. There it is. It is on sale, 18% off today. Go ahead and check it out. And if you enjoy chatting about books, be sure to hit follow here on Amazon Live. And if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. So this one is The Children's Train. I haven't read it yet. I just grabbed it. It's by Viola Ardone. It's the inspiration behind a forthcoming Netflix film, which must have already been out because this book came out in 2021. So now I'm going to look up the Netflix film. It's based on true events. It's a heartbreaking story of love, family, hope, and survival set in post-World War II Italy. Mussolini and the fascists have been defeated, but the war has devastated Italy, especially the South. 7-year-old Amerigo lives with his mother, Antoinetta, in Naples. He's surviving on odd jobs and his wits like the rest of the poor in his neighborhood. But one day, Amerigo learns that a train will take him away from the rubble-strewn streets of the city to spend the winter with a family in the north, where he will be safe and have warm clothes and food to eat. Together with thousands of other southern children, Amerigo will cross the entire peninsula to a new life, but he has to leave his mother behind. Through his curious, innocent eyes, we see a nation rising from the ashes of war reborn. He comes to enjoy his new surroundings and the possibility for a better future, but he has to make the heartbreaking choice to leave his mother and become a member of his adoptive family. This sounds like a tearjerker. This is why I keep Kleenex next to the computer in case I cry on a live stream. It sounds so good, though. That's The Children's Train, and it's 18% off today. And our final book today is way different from any of the books that I have talked about today. It is The Silver Witch, and I really do like fantasy books, but we mostly talk about those over on our other channel, Dark Side of the Library, where we talk about dark books. So this is The Silver Witch. It is by Paula Braxton. I don't know who that is. I haven't read any of her books. I haven't started this one yet, but it sounded so good. It came out in 2016. A year after her husband's sudden death, ceramic artist Tilda finally moves into the secluded Welsh cottage that was to be their new home. She hopes that the tranquil surroundings will help ease her grief and lessen her disturbing visions of Matt's death. But instead, the lake in the valley below her cottage seems to spark something dormant in her, a sensitivity and a power of some sort. You can see why I just checked this out from the library. I'm like, what? I want to know more about this. Animals are drawn to her. Electricity shorts out when she's near, so please don't go near a hospital. And strangest of all, she sees a new vision, a boat full of ancient people approaching her across the water. I hope they're nice ancient people. Now, on this same lake in Celtic times lived Seren, a witch and shaman. She was respected, but feared, kept separate from the community for her strange looks. When a vision came to her of the prince amid a nest of vipers, she warned of betrayal from one of his own. The prince both loved and revered her, but could not believe someone close to him wished him harm, even as the danger grew. In her own time, during our time, Tilda's grief begins to fade beside her newfound powers and a fresh love. When she explores the lake's ancient magic and her own, she discovers Seren, the woman in her vision of the boat. Their two lives strangely mirror each other, suggesting a strong connection between the women. As Tilda comes under threat from a dark power, one reminiscent of Seren's prophecy, she must rely on Seren and ancient magic if death and disaster are not to shatter her life once more. This sounds so good! It's The Silver Witch, a novel by Paula Braxton, and I grabbed that from the library too, and it's 18% off today on Amazon Live. So we have been chatting about books for about 50 minutes. So I think Amazon would prefer that I live stream for a whole hour. But since no one is chatting, I think we're done. So thank you for joining me today. I love talking about books. And if you will give a click and a follow, I will chat about them more often here on Amazon Live. And you can also look for them over on Cookbook Divas. Thanks for watching.